Pollinators are an integral part of our ecosystem and food production. The majority of these pollinators are insects, including bees, flies, butterflies, and beetles. Around 85% of plant species on Earth are pollinated by animals, and the pollination services they provide to crops have been estimated to be worth up to $14.6 billion annually in the U.S. alone. However, modern agricultural practices often pose threats to the health of pollinator communities. These threats come in the form of habitat loss, landscapes devoid of food resources, and the overuse of pesticides. Everyone knows about honeybees as pollinators, but there are many species of native bees and insects that help pollinate our food as well. The primary threat to these native species is the loss of habitat. Native prairie habitats have historically been rich in pollinators in Minnesota, but now, less than 2% of Minnesota's native prairie remains. Much of this landscape is now utilized for agriculture, so with so much land converted from prairie to food production, native pollinators have been severely reduced in numbers. Another threat to both native and managed pollinators are landscapes devoid of floral resources. To survive, pollinators need access to flowering plants throughout most of the year. In agricultural settings, even if crops provide resources to pollinators, these resources are usually poor and are only present for short periods of time while the crops are in bloom. Finally, a well-known threat to pollinators is the use of pesticides in agriculture, particularly systemic pesticides like neonicotinoids. Neonicotinoids are taken up by plants and are present in the tissues, causing harm to pest insects that feed on the plant. But this can also cause harm to pollinators that eat pollen or drink nectar from plants treated with neonicotinoids. Overusing pesticidal foliar applications, seed treatments, or soil drenches can lead to a range of detrimental effects on both honeybees and native pollinators. Fortunately, growers can take steps to help mitigate these threats in order to protect pollinators and continue the benefits they provide to global food production. Providing habitat for native bees can help conserve their populations and provide pollination services to nearby crops. There are many different ways to do this, ranging from maintaining existing hedgerows to planting native wildflowers and grasses. Even small-scale efforts can have an impact, as floral plantings in a range of sizes have been shown to increase wild bee abundance. By establishing habitat in the unused margins of fields, growers can provide resources for pollinators with minimal cost and without removing useful agricultural land from production. Providing food resources in addition to habitat is important. Conservation crop rotation consists of planting flowering cover crops such as legumes and buckwheat. This provides high-quality sources for pollinators at critical times, in addition to enriching soil. A recent study found camelina was a good cover crop to aid pollinators and provided high yields as a seed crop, making it an ideal choice to use. Floral plantings that provide habitat also serve as a source of food. Perennial native wildflowers are particularly beneficial as they support populations of native bees and can provide floral resources through spring, summer, and into the fall. Such plantings also require little maintenance and will last for years. Minimizing the use of neonicotinoids will help conserve pollinators and save growers money. A recent study by the EPA has shown that neonicotinoid seed treatments on soybeans, quote, provide negligible overall benefits to soybean production in most situations. Soybean growers can choose to purchase seed that has not been treated, thereby reducing the danger to pollinators. Scouting fields for pests and applying insecticide when pests are present instead of prophylactically is important for all growers. And remember, neonicotinoids can also be taken up by plants growing in the margins of fields, so it is important to minimize their use around any habitat or floral resources that are meant to provide for pollinators. Pollinators are of enormous benefit to global food production, but are often endangered by agricultural practices. By providing habitat, additional floral resources, and reducing pesticide use, growers can help protect these valuable animals and ensure they continue to provide benefits far into the future.